Thank you, Ryan Sousa. How about another hand for Ryan? Such a blessing. I have a question. Are you ready for some spiritual nourishment? Yes, sir. Are you ready to get your spirit on? Yes. All right. Well, have I got something for you? Reverend Dr. Toni G. Boehm is a ministry skills and transition ministry support consultant. Her extensive background includes being an ordained Unity minister for over 25 years, a team coordinator for Unity Worldwide Ministries, National Ministry Skills, a certified organization and individual life coach, a published author, vice president of education and dean of administration at Unity Institute and Seminary, and that's just to name a few. She has a master's degree in nursing, a PhD in religious studies, and dean of Unity Ministerial School for 20 years. She has served at Unity World Headquarters at Unity Village, Missouri, in various capacities, and currently serves as adjunct faculty in the Spiritual Education and Enrichment Program at Unity Worldwide Spiritual Institute. That was a mouthful. As a consultant for Unity Worldwide Ministries, she supports spiritual communities requesting ministry skills and transition services. An internationally known, inspirational, and dynamic speaker, Reverend Toni has a passion for group facilitation and an ability to create transformational workshop experiences. Please let's join me in giving a warm aloha to the Reverend Dr. Toni G. Boehm.
Thank you, sweetheart. Thank you. And he neglected to mention that I was funny, too. So we want to bring a little humor to things. I want to thank Ralph, and I want to thank the Board of Unity of Hawaii for giving me this opportunity to come here and to be with you all and to share with them through Unity Worldwide Ministries the best standards of practice for ministry and about how to shift consciousness and raise consciousness and bring community together. And that's what we're here to do this week. And so I'm just so grateful to have that opportunity, Ralph. Thank you so much. And the board. Our lesson today is awe, mystery, and unity. Awe, mystery, and unity. And I want to start by asking you a question. Have you ever gone to the beach late at night and sat and beheld the stars and listened to the waves pounding on the shore and just wondered what it's all about? What it's all about? What am I here for? What's my purpose? Well, question no more, because I'm here to tell you. We are here to grow and evolve, friends. We're here to grow and evolve and to learn how to be comfortable in the midst of our discomfort. And that's how we really put the principles to work. So we're going to be talking about those principles this morning, sharing those principles together. And so part of this is learning of the awe and mystery, is learning how to dance at the edge of mystery. To dance at the edge of mystery and wonder and be in awe of everything that's showing up in our lives, whether we ask for it or not. Because in some way, we have asked for it in some way. And so it is that is part of our teaching, to be present to that which is before us and to be in ourselves on that level of truly living these principles. Unity's foundation was created by a movement of spirit through two people, Charles and Myrtle Fillmore. And they based this movement of spirit on two things. They based it on what Mr. Fillmore called first century Christianity. Christianity without the dogma, Christianity without all those trappings, but Christianity as the movement of spirit through us, inviting us into higher levels of awareness of who we are. And the second thing that they base unity on, and behold, friends, we have a teaching. We have a very strong teaching, and it is through the teachings of the master teacher, Jesus. And Mr. Fillmore saw the mystery, awe, and wonder in those teachings to the point that he was able and did write a metaphysical Bible dictionary because he saw the hidden wisdom in the Gospels. He saw the journey of the soul's evolution, and he began to line it out. In 1909, he lined it out through the Unity Correspondence Course, 18 lessons of who we are and how this movement of spirit moves through us. And then, in 1946, about a few months before he made his transition, he hand-carried a 600-page manuscript called The Journey of the Soul's Evolution Through the Teachings of Jesus. He hand-carried it to the archives, and he placed it there, and he said, please keep this until the world is ready. And it's a linear depiction of how the soul moves through its levels of mastery, through the Gospels. And he shows the template and the blueprint of how we do this. So these are the fundamentals. But even more than this, I believe that Mr. Fillmore and Myrtle, because Myrtle started it all through her healings, with having the tuberculosis and knowing that she could do this. And she took 2 chairs. She went into a room and she took 2 chairs. One was empty, but she knew the presence and power of the living Christ was there with her. And she sat in the other chair and read the Bible, all of the healing passages in the Bible. And she walked out months later, healed and whole. And that started the movement because it caught fire. It caught fire in Charles, who then became that place of divine intelligence that brought forth these teachings for us. So I want to share with you a couple of things. And through this teaching, they were also very clear that there's a divine spark within each one of us that is that I am, which is that power of God. And in his book, Mysteries of Genesis, Mr. Fillmore says that life is an ever-progressive upward spiral of conscious evolution. I'm going to say that again. Life is an ever-progressive upward spiral of conscious evolution. Note, did he say, everything's going to stay status quo, don't worry, you don't have to ever think about it? No, he says things are going to come to invite you to dance at the edge of mystery. But everything that happens, whether it's personally, whether it's from a national perspective, an international perspective, when you're in the presence of the I am, when you're dancing, he says unity is a bridge between 3rd dimension and 5th dimension. So we're the 4th dimensional bridge. Yes, that deserves a woo. Yeah. We're that bridge that invites people to walk to the 5th dimension that holds the power and the presence of the Christ. But here's the kicker, friends. There's no fear in that dimension. So when we're in fear, we're not holding up our part of it. Our part is to keep growing until we can stand in the space of no fear. And that's what Mr. Fillmore saw through this evolutionary process of the soul's journey. And so it is that this idea of the master teacher. So I want to share with you a few things that I believe the Fillmores gleaned from the gospel, from that 1st century Christianity of that spirit, that movement. So I believe that there are 6 major teachings that the Fillmores tapped into that are living today and are tools for our lives for practical application. And those 6 things are forgiveness, equality, healing, prosperity, one, and mystery. I threw that in because I'm going to start with one. One presence, one power. How many believe there's only one presence and one power in this universe and in our lives? Ever present, ever moving. That one presence and one power always calling us. The moment that we walked into that unity or new thought ministry and our heart was touched, or we read a book that was new thought oriented, our heart was touched and it like boom, something just threw right open and there it was. Mr. Fillmore says that was the first time that the I am has been touched, and that the only way, and how many times have people said, I felt like I came home. It felt like I came home. Mr. Fillmore says that coming home is that touching of the I am. The first gentle awakening. The first gentle awakening of the I am. So the one presence, the one power, the one energy. We are all energetic beings, friends. We're vibrating at the level of consciousness that we have so far taken on. As we move through this third dimension to fourth dimension to fifth dimension to take on the fullness of the I am, because Jesus said, these things I do, you could do also, as he, through the resurrection and ascension, took on the body of Christ and the body of light. And that's our work also. So we start with that one presence, one power. And that's what happened to me when I walked into that Unity Church in 1974, that same experience of coming home and tapping that I am. And it has been unfolding now for over 40 years in me. The second one is forgiveness. Jesus took forgiveness further than I believe anyone had done before. I want to give you a few examples, like the woman caught in adultery. When we talk about forgiveness, Jesus didn't fight the people. He didn't resist the people that had the stones. He knelt down. He knelt down. He humbled himself. He surrendered. And he didn't become, friends. He be the presence and the power of the energy of love, the unified field of consciousness that was so big that when he spoke the words, he who is without sin cast the first stone. The crowd dispersed because that energy was greater. You know, in my life, my mother was a paranoid schizophrenic. And I believe for many years that she came to make my life miserable. Do you ever have anybody in your life like that? And funny thing, when I woke up, my mother became my best friend. And all those times that she talked to the angels, I really started to see how she was talking to the angels and that she had come. Imagine, in her life story, she invited herself into here to be a paranoid schizophrenic so that I could learn the life lessons I needed so that I could go out and touch souls. So we never know why people do what they do, but we can know they do it to support our growth and to be a contribution when we're willing to look and see. Forgiveness, give love. Forgive, give love for. Equality. Oh, Jesus was a master teacher of equality. He hung out with the saints and the sinners. And I'm sure all of us would have been the sinners in some way or form, you know. And he went to dinner with the tax collector. I mean, you know, what can you say? And yet he brought women into his inner circle and allowed them to be teachers and to really support the movement of this. And the Samaritan woman at the well, considered the lowest of lows, because in Matthew 4:9, it says the Jews considered Samaritans the lowest of lows. In some form it says that. And Jesus spoke to a woman who was married 5 times who was lower than that. And here he invited her to drink of the living water. To drink of the living water. And friends, get this. Who did Jesus for the first time reveal that he was the Christ? He didn't even do it to Pontius Pilate, but to this woman. To this woman. He saw her glory. She had nothing to give to him except an open heart. He saw her glory and he invited love in. He invited love in. Equality. The next is healing. Jesus was revolutionary in the teachings of healing. And we have many, many healers now. But here's the thing. Jesus knew that he was not the healer. That there was a power moving through him that was greater than anything. And that if the person in front of him could say, yes, yes. And he taught us that yes is the way we imprint into the unified field of consciousness. Let your yeses be yes and your noes be no. In the Sermon on the Mount, he said that. And so it is as we say yes. He said to these people, are you willing to be healed? And when they said yes, it was done because it came through them. In 2005, as Ralph said so eloquently, I was at the top of my game. I was the vice president of education, of you name it, hospitality, retreats. And I went to Peru. I went to Peru on a journey to spend 2 weeks in the jungles with a shaman. And when I came back, my life was changed. And Spirit said to me, it's done. And I'm there like, what's done? Your time at Unity, it's done. And I'm there like, oh, no, not yet. Not yet, not quite yet. So just to prove the point, 2 weeks later, I was at a retreat. And we were in the auditorium and activity center, and we were dancing. Daniel Nahmod was there. I was dancing, and I went to turn. You know, the slightest turn in consciousness can make the biggest thing in your life. I went to turn. My foot slipped on the linoleum. I fell, hit my head on the edge of the wooden, knocked myself out. When I came to, I had no short-term memory. No short-term memory. 2 years I sat. I had to resign, and I sat in the space of healing. The first week, 2 weeks, truthfully, were not pretty. I was angry. I was upset. And then finally the Spirit spoke to me, and they gave me one word. And this is why I impress this word so much. Yes. Yes. And I knew that behind it, it was like, yes is your empowerment system. What you say yes to will live in your life. What you say yes to will live in your life. And I knew what I wanted to say yes to was the healing power of the teachings of Jesus Christ as taught by Charles Fillmore. So I spent 2 years in the teachings, just delving, even as a minister for all these years. I just immersed myself in the teachings. I figure if I was going to be redeveloping neural pathways, I might as well redevelop them with something that's going to really work in my life, right? And so it is that healing. So I can't say enough about healing. So we're going to move on then to prosperity. So prosperity, the teachings of Jesus are about abundance. He was here to say it's God's good pleasure to give you the kingdom. To give you the kingdom. And then he says, seek ye first the kingdom, and all things will be added unto you. So it's not about looking for the big houses, the big cars, the big this. It's about seeking first the kingdom within you. And I say that as you search for your new minister. Seek for the kingdom within you that is the minister, and you will draw to you the perfect minister, because you are the place of ministry. So it is. And the last is mystery. But trust me, it's the first. Because what is mystery? It is the power of prayer, it's the power of meditation. But more than that, because we can all talk to God, right? Blah, 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 blah. It's the place of silence. It's silence where we listen, and in the silence where we have those spaces of realization that brings us into the presence and power of God, where we know that we are the energy, the universal impulse that is moving through us is that which lives us, and it is not me, it is not Toni, it is not Ralph, it is not Anne, it is the power and presence of God moving through us, making a difference in the lives of all people. And it's not about fighting and infighting, it is about how do we change the world and be the place where consciousness can rise. That's the glory of God and the mystery of God as it moves through us. That's the glory of God. So in closing, I want to leave you with a quote by Emerson that says, we see the universe as solid. We think these things matter. God sees it as liquid law. And as you live that law, Mr. Fillmore says, the law works. Right use or wrong use, the law works. So make sure you're putting it to right use with right understanding. Amen on that, right? And so it is. One more time, these teachings: forgiveness, equality, healing, prosperity, one, and the mystery. That's what you're living into and practically applying in your lives every day. And so I ask you, are you willing to truly be the place where these teachings come alive in the world? And if you are, yes, say yes, yes, yes. God bless us all.